Welcome back, everybody, to this episode of Galactic Reviews. Thank you for bearing with us. We all have chaotic schedules. But going along with those chaotic schedules, this week we watched quite a chaotic movie. That is Alien Romulus. It is like the ninth film in this franchise, if you include the Alien versus Predator movies. No, because there's four aliens, then there's two Alien versus Predator, and then there's Prometheus, and then the newer one before this one, which I can never remember the name of. So this is nine. This is nine. Kind of just a new Alien one. This one's just kind of a new Alien one for like a new generation. Very similar to the first one in plot and structure, and it's kind of stands on its own. I don't think you need the one before it to see this one. However, seeing it at the very least, the very first Alien definitely gives this movie a much bigger impact. Um, Overall, I quite enjoyed it. It actually surprised me. I did not think it was going to be as good as it was, both with the state of, I guess, remakes slash reboots within the past couple of years, and also just this kind of state of horror thriller movies in the past couple of years have not been all too scary. This one, it was pretty good. I haven't felt that way in a horror movie in a long time. That one really got me, and not in the I don't want to be here way, but the oh, this is so good way. Um, Spence was great. The scares were great. I got to see the moving chairs, so
Mm.
that was great. Um, Overall, like a solid 7 to 8 out of 10. It's been about a week or so since I've seen it, so I might be forgetting the things that I didn't like or whatever. But solid 7 to 8.
I was probably going to go watch this without watching the first one, but after giving some advice from Andrew after he watched it, I went and watched the first one. And having watched that, and I haven't watched at least the first one and then Romulus, I understand what you were meaning, Andrew, when you gotta watch the first one to understand, I guess, the detrimental sort of damage that one of these things can do, because there's a whole bunch of them in the film and you don't quite get that same sort of terror that you get in the first one with just the one that you get with this one. It just seems like more of a horde than a just the one sort of being a menace. Having said that, this one was very reminiscent of the first movie, which wasn't which isn't bad in and of itself, but I think it was overdone in this film. Like, there were a few callbacks to the first film and a few parallels, but a lot of them were unnecessary parallels and were over and felt overdone in certain aspects, especially more so towards the end when when a lot of the things are just copied and paste essentially in there.
Yeah,
It didn't really feel, it
the
felt more
plot
like,
pacing was very copy paste.
yeah, and I didn't mind that because it kind of made it its own for the most part, but there was a few points where it was straight up copy and paste, and that felt kind of like, well, I get that it might have been trying to feel like a callback to the first film. It kind of also felt like kind of fell flat, as it was more so just,
Kind of like
it
a
was,
loss of originality.
yeah, and it was starting to get old really like relatively fast. Like, maybe after the first two callbacks, they were fine, but after like the fifth or sixth, it was starting to get old and repetitious and not kind of what I was wanting in a new alien, well, what I would like to see in a new movie of a franchise that's like carrying on the mantle.
Mm-hmm.
It was still good. I think the alien bursting out of the person in this film, it wasn't as good as the first one. And I'm only comparing the first one. I'm pretty sure it happens in other ones, but I'm only comparing the first one because that's the only one I've seen. It wasn't as good and as well, I guess, acted as it was in the first one. Because in the first one, he's he's kicking and screaming. It takes the whole crew to hold him down.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in this one, she's kicking and screaming. There's just one girl that's holding her together more so than holding her down. I it it just wasn't as well done in that aspect. And I liked most of the stuff in this film because it was, I don't think a lot of it was CGI except for most of it was practical effects except for the synthetic guy that was made to look like Ash from the first movie. That looked weird a little bit, but
Yeah, they did their best.
yeah, it looked weird, but I did I liked his inclusion, but I do have questions on that, but that could just be me not knowing enough about this. Like, do all synthetics look the same, or like all synthetics of the same class, I guess, look the same, or do
I haven't seen the rest of the movies to know.
okay, well, there goes that question. The last 10 minutes, where it went into this human alien hybrid felt weird. I don't know if I don't know if I like that at all. I get what they were going for, sort of like a shock factor, but I don't know if I didn't like that. Um I just didn't. I think it has to do more so with it being the monster being an unborn child human, and that instead of it being the girl that like took the thing and then essentially became the monster, which is what I was thinking was going to happen. But
Mhm.
yeah, that just seemed weird. And the only way I can think of, the only way it was just weird and off putting to me. And I think with it being the unborn child, that became like just a weird, messed up monster, sort of became like the off putting thing for me. But I get that's more of a creative choice than a personal, or like, um, it's more so a creative thing than having to do with anything me personally. So I get what they were going for. I just don't think it was as tasteful as it could have been. But overall, it's still, despite me giving it a lot of flack, it's still a good movie. The acting is well done. The cinematography is well done. Like I've said before, the use of practical effects was really well done. The CGI for, I guess his name is Rook in this movie, for his
Mhm.
face, I didn't think was that good, but the rest of it was fine. The score I thought was good. The cinematography I thought was good. It's just those little bits and pieces that I'm like, well, could have been great, or at least could have been good. A good sort of, I guess, sequel slash reboot. I don't know
Mhm.
exactly what this is, but it could have been a good sequel for the Alien franchise, and it just
I feel like
I
it
wouldn't
connected
say,
both.
yeah, I wouldn't say it flopped or
Mm-mm.
fell flat on its face. It's just it could have done more to impress people instead of feeling more like a lackluster sort of sequel.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, overall, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was, like I said before, it's good. It's just could have been better.
Starting out, I'll just give it right out the gate an 8 out of 10. I rather enjoyed this movie. This one, Payson, you did say a lot about like how it's pretty much almost a copy and paste 1-to-1, but I feel like
Yeah.
Alien kind of needed that after the last couple movies we've gotten. They haven't been I haven't really personally enjoyed them all that
Mm.
much.
They
They
went
haven't
back
had
to
the
what worked.
same, yeah, they haven't had the same effect as like the first and the second one.
Yeah.
And this one tried to go back to those roots to try to reignite that flame, which I enjoyed, and I thought they did a pretty good job with it.
Yeah. And it wasn't a bad
However,
thing.
yeah,
What
however, I
else?
will say with the ending, with the whole child like monster thing, I was more of expecting her to turn into an alien, somehow survive and escape, and start a new breed of aliens, and that be like a sequel movie, kind of like that. That's kind of where I thought it was going to like end off and end, and I thought that would have been cool. It still has that kind of possibility since they have the medicine, the vaccine or whatever whatever, I forget what it was called. Yeah, since they have that, there's still the possibility of that new breed of aliens, but I thought it was gonna end a little bit differently, and than what it did. Still think it was a good ending for this movie. And I do also agree. I think the alien coming out of the chest. I think the biggest reason why it wasn't as impactful as it was in the first movie was because that was one of the biggest scenes in the trailer, and they had shown it pretty much all the way through in the trailers. So
And it
you
was
already
expected
knew,
if you knew
yeah,
the
you
aliens.
already exactly, you already knew and already expected it. So it kind of took away that excitement from me at least
But also
to see that.
the four
But
guys needing to hold him down versus the just kind of laying there.
oh yeah, yeah, no, I do agree with that. It this movie wasn't as intense as the first one, but it had the same somewhat of the same feel and excitement and adrenaline as the first one did, which is what I liked. And I'm hoping that they continue with this type of alien movies in the future for this nostalgic feel instead of giving us just what we've been getting over the last handful of movies. Even with like the Alien versus Predator, the first one it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. So I'm hoping to see more um alien movies like this in the future. So yeah.
Maybe I should clarify something. When I say copy and paste, I mean like
I know you don't
direct.
mean it's like a one-to-one,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. Like there's
it
especially that one scene where the one I can remember the most is where like she's saying basically verbatim the same thing that Ripley said at the end of the movie in the data log. How she like gets in the same in like a similar
mm,
space suit
yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah.
same way as Ripley at the towards the end of the film
Yeah,
where
yeah,
she's
yeah,
hiding
yeah.
from the alien. Certain things like that where it's like an obvious verbatim
Yeah.
callback.
Well, yeah, no, I
And
will agree.
they were
This movie was more of a nostalgic, like to rekindle a nostalgia for when the movie came out originally,
yeah,
because it's the same ship, the same pretty much vibe for everything.
well,
So I
not the
understand. I just
it's
think
not
it,
this okay. Go ahead.
well, what were you saying?
I'm saying it's not the same ship. They found the remains of the ship and
Well,
it's on this new scientific ship, Remus and Romulus. Or Romulus
yeah.
and
It
Remus.
wasn't the
Yeah,
Nostromo.
okay. Yeah, no, yeah. No, I'm sorry.
But
Yeah, no, you're
I know what
right.
you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, but I would have liked a little bit more of a
Originality.
original setting. I think
Yeah.
that's a better word.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think it acts as both a like reboot for a new generation and
Yeah.
also a sequel.
Yes. So if for people who haven't seen the first movie or wanted to see it as a nostalgia and everything, I think it's great. That's why I'm hoping that the next one will be more of an original film with the same type of excitement and feel. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping this is just setting up to that.
Yeah, it's definitely a better reboot than it is a sequel.
Yes.
While also not being exactly copy and paste.
Yes,
Pretty
yes,
good.
Yeah.
yes.
Just
Uh, Overall, even as a standalone horror movie, like it's pretty good.
Yes.
And it got me.
Yeah. Yeah, you did not have to see the first one to be able to understand the core plot of this, which is great.
It was just the
Um
very opening scene when we saw all the little
yes.
xenomorphs, the
Yeah.
little ones. Because as soon as that popped on screen and all the rows of them, I was like,
The
oh
face huggers.
crap,
Yeah.
they're screwed.
Yeah, all the face huggers. I was like, well, they're that's the end of like half of their
I
crew.
was like, well, good movie. Great, good movie.
Yeah. Honestly, I was expecting at least one more to be infected, not just
I
Not
was
the
just
one
one.
honestly
character.
I was expecting all of them to die except for the one. And I mean, it kind of makes sense for at least a little bit. like both the guys died protecting the female characters. One that was hurt, and then the one of them that was pregnant and hurt midway through, and then through the repercussions of the first one having a xenomorph coming out of her body, and then the other one was died protecting the other two from being impaled. The woman died from being face hugged early on, like she was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pregnant woman decided to do something stupid and she died.
Well, they didn't really tell her why you shouldn't take the vaccine.
Yeah, but she didn't need
Um,
to, and she was able to hear the whole discussion of why she shouldn't be taking this.
did
So,
she did she hear the whole? I don't remember her hearing
I mean,
like
she
I know
was
she heard that I know that she heard you shouldn't take it. You just get in the cryopod and once we get to a place we'll be able to fix you. But I don't remember them like giving a even a brief explanation of why you shouldn't take it.
well, I think she was just saying she
But yes, doesn't trust it. Yeah, okay.
doesn't trust it, and
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
about it. And he was saying they were going back and forth, and they ended up deciding not to take that risk and didn't inject her with it.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
there wasn't enough for the film to tell us
I mean, true. They didn't technically they didn't know that it was going to
do that.
kill
Yeah, I
her
get it.
or anything like that. So
Like
yeah.
essentially turn
Yeah,
her
they
and the
didn't
baby
yeah.
into kind of freakish looking things.
Yeah.
Her less so, more so the baby, but she was still kind
Yeah,
of
her the whole thing with her was kind of weird.
yeah.
Being kind of turning it that the whole like baby xenomorph was just
Freaky.
Yeah. And I get that was
yes.
what they were going for. I don't think
Yes.
a unborn child was the best method of using that. Just
Well,
personally.
I
it
mean,
an unborn
it fit the
it
pattern.
I
it yeah, no, it fit the pattern, but it was an unborn child that had probably like just reached its first trimester. So I'm just like it only took like not even an hour, took what, 15 minutes?
Yeah, she went into labor.
Well, I mean, we also knew
So
they had accelerated growth.
Yeah.
yeah, but I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting something to do with her and then having the baby later on, like in a sequel
As
movie.
a xenomorph.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was expecting, not just instantly baby xenomorph.
I was expecting I would think him more of a hybrid and therefore more deadly instead of a
Well, exactly. I was
freakish.
expecting him to be like show up in the second movie as like a xenomorph king or something. Something, extremely unique, outrageous, like
Yeah.
controls the xenomorphs
Well, no,
and like
what would be freaky and weird is if it was a human, like an actual human shell, but like
okay.
xenomorph
Yeah.
everywhere else. That would
Yeah.
be freaky because you wouldn't be able to tell
Yeah.
in the next
So
movie to come. So that
exactly.
could have been
So
interesting, but yeah,
I was expecting something of to have to do with her character in the next movie rather than the last 10 minutes of this one.
yeah,
Um, so I'm not disappointed that it happened in this one. I just think that they could have carried it over to the next one as a like beginning a little easier or something. I don't know.
yeah. I think maybe it might have been due to them only thinking they could get this one film out and that would be it. That would be all they could do. So they were just like,
I
okay,
mean,
let's
no,
just.
look, they've been making alien movies for years.
I'm
They
not
will
saying
continue to make alien movies. No one's going to stop them.
I'm not saying the studio. I'm saying like the writer
I mean,
and maybe
okay.
producer as well. I
Yeah.
don't like maybe the
Okay.
writer and
I
director.
suppose. I
I could see them
suppose.
just being like,
Yeah.
we have all these ideas. We want to try to use them all in one
Mm,
movie.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah. No, I see what you mean now. I see what you mean. Yeah. No, I
Did you
understand that.
guys see that the hybrid was like an actual person?
Hmm.
Yeah, it was like a basketball player was what I was
Uh-huh.
told. So
Yeah. I mean, it was cool. I think they did a great job with it.
yeah, I feel off on some of it. Like
Yeah.
just that whole unborn kid becoming a demon, not by his. It's just weird, but I do think it looked CGI wise, it looked cool, and with the
Hmm.
effects they did, I thought it looked cool. It's just I don't know how I like that storyline plot of it, but it wasn't bad.
Well, I'm
I
glad
like
y'all enjoyed it as much as y'all did. I was not sure if you would, considering it's more horror than you guys are used to.
It helped
well,
watching the first film. I'm gonna be honest, because that thing was such a cinematic masterpiece that I was just like,
yeah,
okay,
Alien, yeah. I've watched the first two, three Aliens movies a few times. It's a fun movie. It's not really, I don't want to count it as a horror movie because the first one is, but it's more of like just as Payson said, it's just uh, a masterpiece for cinematography.
for the
Yes.
second one, I've heard it's mostly just military guys and guns shooting
It's
aliens.
it's kind of just like Predator one,
Okay,
really.
No.
okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is, just Predator one. Thank you everyone for watching this week's episode. Join us next week when we'll be watching the new Borderlands movie. As much as I want to be excited for that movie, I will not, sadly. Uh,
Boo.
so join us next week as we talk about that movie.